Hello everyone, it's Laura here, and today I'm working in the Circle Portraits coloring book. It's my newly released book, and we're doing episode 2 of the Mother Earth drawing that we started before. So, the last time we met up and did this, I was using markers, so I'm going to continue on. And I'm using Tombow N57, and I'm just going and filling in the rest of the details. So this episode will mostly focus again on markers. This will be the second hour of the drawing, and it will be continuing the marker base that we started. And then after that, we're going to move on into pencils, so that'll be good. I'll show you how to add even more detail once you've got a good base of markers going. So I did just want to express, I've gotten a lot of comments from the last video, and I'm just really super happy that you guys are liking this series. I'm really excited to continue releasing these videos. All of them are already recorded, but they do take some time because I found that I do better when I'm not talking and drawing at the same time. So I recorded all of the videos ahead of time with just me drawing. And then, like right now, I'm actually watching the video and doing a voiceover recording. And then I put it together and edit it together and then release the video that way. I do sometimes do live streams as well, but this is not a live stream. I did this during my work breaks. Hopefully sometime in the future I will be getting a proper lamp. All of the lighting that I have in my house is like, regular desk lamps, and unfortunately they don't offer the right type of lighting situation for a night recording video. But hopefully sometime soon I will be able to purchase a lamp that will allow me to work in the evenings as well. And then I can start doing more live streams during the evenings. But as of right now, I figure, I'm just trying to do what works for me as far as these videos go. And hopefully you guys will still enjoy them even if they're not live. But I do miss doing live streams. I've just been super busy lately, and it's hard to manage everything with my schedule, so I'm just doing what I can. So anyway, what I'm doing right now is just working in the earth section, filling in some details with the Tombow markers. What I love about these markers is just how easily they layer and layer, and they get darker as they go. So it makes it kind of cool for shading. I'll be switching over to Tombow N57. And now I'm going to work in the cloud areas. So this is a lighter blue, and I'm just going to offer some like warmer blue. Right now that purpley blue that's down is a little too cool for me, so I'm going to warm it up with this more green blue. And that'll make it just the right color I like. So what's fun is the Tombows really do layer really beautifully over top of each other. The colors mix really well. And unlike the Copics, when you go to layer a Copic over one another, sometimes it cancels itself out. Like the color that you put over it will kind of dominate or get rid of the color under it. But that doesn't happen with the Tombows. These are water-based, so when you layer one color on top of the other, it just builds instead of replaces it. So that's how they're different. I like both markers. I like both types for different reasons. So that's why I have both alcohol-based and water-based markers. But for these little details, these Tombows are perfect because in small areas they don't streak, and especially these lighter colors are harder to streak as well. So I really do love the pastel set and the portrait palette in the Tombows. Those are the two sets that I use the most. So this does take some time because there's lots of small detail. And I'm not rushing this video. I know some people work quicker than they normally do for YouTube videos, but I thought that that would kind of cheat you out of my process. So I'm working real time in just the same way I work when I'm working by myself. And I thought, you guys can fast forward or skip ahead or, these videos, you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. But by showing you exactly how I do it in the same speed and the same detail that I normally work, I think it will really give you a better sense of exactly how I work and what I'm doing. So I'm sorry if you don't like that. I will offer some time-lapse videos as well in my work, but for this series I went with the real-time videos because that's what people have been really asking me for. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do some more voiceover recording later today as well, so that way we can get a couple of videos out this week. Really do love sharing how I work with you. It seems like they do help. Had a lot of really sweet comments on the last one, so thank you guys so much. It means a lot to me to know that they're helpful. So I love those comments. I read every single one of them and I love them. So thank you. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to a new color. And we're at Tombow 553. So now just layering that purpley blue color where I hadn't put it before. So in the comments below, please tell me if you've ever used marker, what markers you prefer. And also, if you haven't used marker or if you're scared to use marker, please tell me why. A lot of people have been asking me how I work in marker, and that's why I wanted to do this mixed media piece. But I'm happy to address certain concerns you have in a different video later on. So yeah, just let me know. If you've used marker and you love it, then let me know which ones you love. And if you haven't, or if you're scared to try, or just tell me what's going on, and maybe we can address some of that in future videos. I would love to know. And so you'll see In this color, it does get a little streaky. That's okay. I'm not really fussing. If it gets streaky, I just fix it with pencil. So there's no need to really stress about that. It's all about just putting the color down, getting a sense of how it'll look and where the lights and darks go. And I do use some circular motions, so that way at least if I do get streaks, it's like a cloudy streakiness. So using directional strokes depending on the object you're coloring does help with that. Alright, so we're just moving along. And I'm sorry that sometimes I take so long with certain things. I just, coloring is a meditation for me. I don't worry too much about the speed that I'm going. I just work at whatever pace is comfortable and just enjoy it. So some of my pages take a really, really long time to do, and then some are pretty quick. It kind of just depends on the page and my mood and how I'm feeling. But this one has a lot of details, so I'm taking my time. And it's funny, it was supposed to snow today, but instead it decided to rain, so that's kind of nice. I don't have to shovel this morning. But I do kind of like the snow, though. Alright, so moving on into the water. Just adding some shadow to the areas right near the rocks. And the waterfall. Using that same color in the water to give some shadow. Now you notice I use dots for the spray and then directional lines for the falling water. And I don't fill in all of the water. I leave a lot of it the white of the paper and only use the blue on the lower parts of the water and also around the rocks. And this will give shadows without going too dark with it. So a light touch is really key there. Alright, swapping over, we're going to go to Tombow N57. And just working in the rock areas, adding a little bit more definition. Now this is a pretty light color, light beige color, so I'm just adding some gradients to some of the areas in the light sections to kind of transition between the dark areas and the light areas. So this is a great blending color, if you will. It's also a color I used in her face, so it ties the two together. I want her to feel like she's coming out of that rock mountain, or that rock mountain is her. So in order to do that, I'm really trying to keep the colors pretty close together as far as the rocks and her skin tone. Alright, we're moving on to a new color. It's Copic W3. And there we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and add some deeper, darker shadows to the rocks. And there's a lot of detail here as well, so I'm just taking my time, picking out anywhere I think would be in shadow. Alright, so under those little bushes there, also creating some shadows. And close to the waterline, I really try and get that darker. See how it turns out when it dries. And I thought I might switch colors, but I decided that this one was the best one that I have for this work, so keep going with it. And it's funny, I don't have a whole lot of Copic markers, or I have more Tombows than Copics. But these were actually a gift. My sister loaned them to me at first. They were hers. But then she just decided to give them to me. Because she doesn't use them, she said. So she's like, well, you'll get more use out of them. So I only have a small set of Copics, but I do plan to buy more. So yeah, you can make a drawing work with a small amount of markers, so that's kind of nice. But that's part of the reason why I do go over it with pencils. Alright, so switching colors again. Wow, this really does look like a hot mess. We're moving to 451. Add some shadow to the hairline. And the shadows around the hair. And now switching to 990. Adding more shadow to the dark side of the eyelid there. So there's a lighter side and a darker side of the face. And the lighter side I pretty much leave well enough alone, but the darker side I'm going to add more detail to the shadows now. So underneath the eye there, and I'm just looking and trying to see what else I want to add. I'm going to add a little bit of that color to the whites of the eyes. And give a little more shadow detail to that eyelid. And also, just under the nose, needed more depth. So I'm doing that as well. So now using the flat of the marker, I'm going in very quick strokes, trying not to create too many streaks. And adding more darkness to that dark side of the cheek there. And a little bit more under her lips and her chin. And just at the edges of her mouth. In this area right under her nose. So we're just adding detail in the shadows just about everywhere on the face. And again, this isn't meant as a final finished layer, but rather more information for where the shadows go when I go in with a pencil later. So I'm basically working out the basics, trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to approach the pencils without putting a layer of pencil down. So thus preserving the tooth of the paper for as many layers as I need for pencils. Alright. So we're going to move on to a new color. And that's the Copic E00. And I'm just adding some more color to her little earlobe there. Under the eye. I'm also trying to fix this upper eyelid area, which I feel like I messed up a little bit. So what you see me doing here is just filling in more layers of shadow detail in the less dark parts of the face. So the midtones between the darkest and the lightest colors are now getting some treatment. Alright, we're moving right along. And now it's N57. And this is on a different day. We've swapped to a different video. So I've actually lowered the volume on this particular part of the video because I'm running my washing machine in the background. And I'm sure you don't want to hear that. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in too so you can see a better view now that I'm going to be working in more of the detailed areas. And you can see here how I use directional strokes with the markers so that even when it streaks, it's not a big deal. So yeah, but you can see her face does look like a hot mess. There's a lot of streakiness going on. That's totally okay. Alright, switching colors here. I'm going with the 553. I missed some spots in the background, so I just want to make sure to fill them in as I see them. And switching color again to 228. And this color was part of the landscape set. I really do like this green a lot. But it is one of the ones that does streak, so I try and knock out the large areas with the flat of the brush tip, and always using directional strokes to kind of cover as much area as I can that way. And you'll see me rotating the paper a lot because of this. Still, I find it provides a really nice base color for leaves and things like that. So I'm going to go with this leaf here. And there's a lot of detail. But I'm just going to try and get as much of it covered as I can, as quickly as I can. So you see I'll touch up the edges after I put the big base layer down. And this other little leaf hidden back there. And now I'm just looking, trying to decide, but yep, I'm going to use this color as well for the leaves on the tree. And here I'm using squiggly strokes, just basically scribbling, so using sort of a varied direction. I'm just going in and scribbling away. And I do this to give it the appearance of small little leaves without actually doing a lot of little tiny leaves individually, but it gives a nice effect. And now you'll see I'm focusing only on the darker areas. So in each little leafy pillow, if you will, or however you want to call it, I'm just doing the underside, and I'm leaving the tops of it empty for now. And I'll go back in later with a lighter color and fill those bits in. Alright, so I'm swapping to 243, And now I'm just going to give a quick fill, going right on over everything there. So quick and fun this way. And now I'm going to also use this same color for some of the other leaves up top, just to give some variety. I don't have many green colors yet in my Tombows, but it's okay. I just make do with what I've got. Alright, switching colors again to 969. And this is like a dark brown. So I'm going to go in and give a base layer to this tree trunk area. I'm so sorry I didn't move the camera. Sometimes I get in the zone and I just don't even notice what's going on. Alright, but I fixed it. Alright, so now I'm using that 228 color to add more detail in the shadows of the leaves and the bush there. Again, using that scribbly pattern that I was talking about before. Alright. And swapping to a new color. We're going to use 977 here. And we're going to use this on the branches of that little cherry blossom branch. Now you can make these whatever color you want. This is a nice medium brown color, so it's not super dark. It's a really lovely color. Alright. And now switching to 553, I noticed some areas I missed. Again, small little details. As I work on this, they do reveal themselves, and then I'll go ahead and fix them. Alright. So I just wanted to zoom out to show you the picture as it's looking now. And I'm swapping to 553. Just adding some more detail in the hair there. And also the hair behind that tree. Now that the tree is in place, I can see that it definitely needs to be darker back there. And we are winding down this marker base. So I hope that you're excited to join me for the colored pencil portion, which will come next. And I know she doesn't look great right now, but by the end of this, we're going to smooth all those little issues out. And it just goes to show you that you can make a lot of mistakes and recover from them. So don't worry too much if you've done a little boo-boo. They can all be recovered from if you work on them. Alright. Okay. So I missed a little shrub down here, so I'm just adding Tombow N57 to it. Getting a little green down. Again, using scribbles. Same way I treated the tree. Little tiny bush back there. And I'm also adding this to the baseline where the rocks meet the water, because there might be some algae or other green tinting there happening, so just give that effect. Alright. And even though it's not in the line work, I wanted to create a little nicer transition between the tree and the rocks there. So I'm adding some vegetation in where there wasn't any in the drawing. And maybe some more algae or green bits here and there. There's a lot of water around these rocks, so I think it's safe to assume there could be some mossy algae kind of green color that could be added. So none of this is really planned. I wing it a lot. I just decide on the fly, sort of as I'm developing the drawing, how I want it to look. So when I was using that green color for the vegetation, it also just sort of struck me to try that. And I rather like how it worked out, so then I continued it around the whole drawing, around those rocks, especially around the water areas. Alright, so we're wrapping up this little video here. And I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that this has been useful to you. And yeah, I'm excited to show you guys the next part, which is the colored pencil portion. So if you've enjoyed this, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. That helps get my videos noticed. And if you like watching this type of video, I'm going to be doing a lot more, so probably want to hit that subscribe button. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really love doing these videos for you guys. Please let me know in the comments below what you liked, what you didn't like. I'm always trying to learn and do better. And yeah, as always, I hope you have a wonderful, magical time.